Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. Today's video is going to be my first monthly recap video of the year. I want to try these out this year. I don't know if I'm going to have 12 of these videos over the year, but at least for now, I really have a plan to kind of have a monthly recap video at the end of every month. So I just want to go ahead and kind of break down what I'm hoping to accomplish in these kind of videos since this is the first one. So as this is the last day of January and it happens to be on my upload date, I want to go ahead and post this video today for you guys. I'm really hoping to just kind of reflect on the previous month. I'm going to have a different project every single month. I mentioned that in my first video back this year, and I want to have something new to kind of focus on each month. So in these recap videos, I definitely want to recap how the project went. I also want to fill you guys in on any new pans that I've hit in my collection and also how many empties I have gained over the last month, so how many makeup products I've used up. I feel like this will be an interesting way for me to look back on and see like what months was I using more of my makeup, hitting more pans, is there any sort of correlation. I also want to share with you guys some of my hobbies, so I will be sharing things that I made in the previous month, whether it be on my new sewing machine or crocheting or whatever else I get up to the rest of this year. I just want this to be a way for me to hopefully feel like the last month didn't just completely fly by. I'm really trying to like slow down and enjoy life. Today, just sitting down to film this video, I took my time to do my makeup. I'm filming this after work one day, so typically I would kind of just really try to knock out the video and be done with it if I had to film after work, but I decided to do my hair, sit down like after washing my work makeup off to redo my makeup for filming, because I just love when I edit back my videos to see like that my makeup looks really nice and fresh and not 11 hours old. So that's what I'm doing today. Again, it's just kind of a way I'm trying to slow down and not rush my whole life away. So I'm really hoping that these videos will be a good kind of reset for myself as well as you guys. So in addition to having a recap of the month, I'm also going to be announcing in these videos what my project for the next month is going to be. So definitely stay tuned to the end of this video because I will be sharing what my February project is going to be. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple. So I hope that you guys are excited for that, but we'll definitely talk about that later on in the video. Okay, so in the month of January, I've had two projects going on. The first one has been a little difficult these last few days, but I was actually on a no-buy for the month of January. Now, when I say I'm on a no-buy, it was actually just for makeup. I have so far been successful and I have no plans to purchase anything between now and the end of January, which of course, when you guys are watching this, today's the last day of January, but currently I have 2 more days left of January. So I have no plans to purchase any makeup in the next 2 days, and I will not let myself, because knowing that this video is coming out, I don't want to mess up the data for that. So I have been successful in my no buy for January. I'm very, very proud of that. And I will say there have been a couple of items that have tempted me. Specifically, I have wanted to pick up another Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. And I also almost picked up a mascara yesterday. I had to catch myself like, nope, you don't actually need it. So you don't need to do that. But I actually want to mention in this video that last year in the spring, I gifted a Charlotte Tilbury lipstick to my friend. I actually mentioned this in a video in my gift guide from Black Friday time last year, like right before Christmas. And I mentioned in that a really good shade that I thought would work really well for deeper skin. And the other day she asked me where I had got that lipstick from because she's almost completely used it up. And that just made me so happy, because the fact that I got someone a lipstick that has now become their favorite go-to lipstick just literally made my whole day when she told me that. And yeah, that to me is an accomplishment from January. So I wanted to share that, but that conversation really reminded me how I do want to pick up another lipstick from Charlotte Tilbury. I love the one in Pillow Talk. It's the only one that I have. And I want to try another shade, but I'm also a little bit tempted to try her other formula, because I've tried the Matte Revolution formula and I kind of want to try the Kissing formula. But if you guys have any favorites, let me know down below. I might pick one up in February. We'll see. The other project that I've had going on in the month of January is going to actually trickle into about the first half of February. So it's going to be kind of a duo, but I have actually been cycling through all of my eyeshadow palettes. In my recent video where I ranked all of my eyeshadow palettes based on usage, I totaled up all of the totals from 2023 and shared them with you guys. If you missed that video, I'll have it linked down below as well as up in the eye for you guys. But I love that video. It's one of my favorite series that I do on my channel. That series where I share the ranking of all of them just puts it into perspective, because even though I don't have a ton of palettes, I still had one palette in my collection that I did not use at all in 2023. And that makes me really sad, because that means it just sat there collecting dust. It was actually a very expensive eyeshadow palette as well. And that just like doesn't sit right with me. So I wanted to start out the year by giving all of my palettes one use, and then after that I will kind of use them as is. I might do this kind of project again later on in the year, but that is my project also going on right now. I actually made that into a short form series, so you guys can see those weekly on my Instagram and here on YouTube Shorts. I have been posting those either on Sunday or Monday, just kind of depending on my schedule, how that comes out. But definitely stay tuned to those platforms in the short form kind of realm if you're interested in seeing what I'm actually using and when. But I've had a really good time sharing those. I've noticed that I've been wearing eyeshadow about 5 days out of each week so far. So I'm going to try and use them more like 7 days, because I'm ready to reach for what I want to, not just what's left. But I have been really enjoying that, and I'll definitely share more thoughts on that in February's wrap up once I've completed this project. So those are the two projects that I've had, the no buy and then the using all of the eyeshadow palettes in my collection. So I've really been liking that, and I also feel like using all of my eyeshadows has actually immensely helped me not purchase new eyeshadow palettes. I haven't been interested in any of them this past month, and that to me I think is a little bit in correlation with the project that I've been doing, as well as the no buy of course, but that's just making me more excited to reach for what I already have. So those are recaps of the two projects that I've been working on in January, but I want to go ahead and fill you in on some empties as well as a new pan that I hit in my collection this month. So I actually have 7 makeup empties from this month. This is a little bit of a weird way to label something as empties, and so I'm kind of back and forth on it, but I'm going to go ahead and just count all of these as empties. And the reason being is because I don't want to forget to talk about one of them if I like just declutter it. So I'm going to mention them here. 6 of these were actually mascara empties. So yeah, basically I had rolled in a couple of new ones in the very beginning of January. Well, actually just one new one, I think. Some of them I knew I needed to get rid of, or they were going to be empty at the beginning of January, but recently my eyes have been extremely irritated, and the skin on my eyelids were really irritated, but then also it felt like my lash line was very, very irritated. So I made the decision to get rid of all of my open mascaras and start from scratch, because I felt like I did not want to risk getting an infection in my eye. If you guys don't know, I actually had LASIK surgery a few years ago, and for some reason, even before then, the health of my eyes was always very important to me. But after having the LASIK surgery, it just really put into perspective to me like how little I want to play around with putting makeup products near my eyes if they're irritated. So yeah, I just decided to roll all of them out. I was kind of upset about the Ulta Beauty one because it was pretty new. I had just opened it in the beginning of January, but it was transferring pretty bad on my lids anyways, so I probably wasn't going to reach for it very often, and it wasn't worth it to me to risk kind of contaminating it, because sometimes even when I wash my face and do a double cleanse, I will have a couple specks of mascara in my eyelashes. It's just kind of part of being someone that loves to wear makeup. Every now and then it just doesn't 100% come off. And I just didn't want to risk like cross-contaminating any mascaras and then messing with the new ones that I'm now opening in my collection. So anyways, a long way to say that that's why there's so many mascaras, and one of them is kind of an empty, kind of not, but I can't pass it on to anyone. I'm just kind of counting it in there. I also used up the little mini of the eyebrow gel from Anastasia. So those are my 8 empties from the month of January, but I do actually have one new pan to share with you guys. So this is the only pan so far that I have hit in my collection this year, and it is from the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow Duo. I finally hit pan again in this bronzer shade, or the contour shade, whatever you want to call it. But I had repressed both of these products because I had quite large pans in both of them, especially the bronzer, that I wanted to go ahead and repress them so that my brush would fit really well in the pan again, and I wasn't trying to like get the product from around the edges, which sometimes the brush doesn't pick up very well. So I repressed them, and then I re-hit pan in this bronzer earlier this month. So that is the only pan that I've hit in my collection, but I'm very excited about it, and hopefully I will hit pan on the highlight again as well. So I have one more makeup related thing to share from the month of January. Then I'm going to show you kind of the things that I made as far as like crafting goes. And then we're going to talk about February goals and my February project that I'll be introducing. So the last thing I want to mention from the month of January is just that I finally have what I would consider to be as close to my perfect vanity as I think I'm gonna get. So as of this weekend, I have a new vanity. And if you guys have been around on my channel, you know how exciting this is for me. You can see a little bit of it here. So I'm just like speechless over this vanity, but you guys will actually see an entire video about it next. It's going to come out on Sunday, and I cannot wait to share the video with you guys. So in that video, I'm going to share with you guys the process of how it ended up in this room. So all of the details about it. And yeah, I'm just so excited. And then I'm also going to kind of initially put the products into it in that video. So it's not 100% how I want it yet. And as I was putting the products in there, I kind of realized like how I might want to do it, but full transparency, I filmed that clip last night at like 10:30, 11 at night, and I was exhausted, ready to go to bed and get to work today. So, or like ready to get some sleep so I could go to work today and not be just totally exhausted. And by the time I put all the products in the drawers, I was over it. I did not want to keep rearranging them because I knew I would go into a rabbit hole of spending too long on it. So once I get it exactly how I want it, I will definitely share a vanity tour with you guys because I do want to get some more things for the top of it because I have a lot more space than I ever have before. And if you guys know, like, look at my channel name, Kirsten's Makeup Vanity. That is exactly like why my channel is named that, because my makeup vanity is like my happy place. It is where I decompress. It is where I put my makeup on, which is like so therapeutic for me. So it's just like all encompassing of what I really, really love. And yeah, I'm so excited. It has like a little pull-out shelf right here that I'm actually currently holding my crafts on that I made so I can show you guys. But this is going to be a game changer because I'm always like shifting around, bringing little tables so I can film with them and be able to reach for stuff versus having it behind me on the vanity. So the fact that this has like a pull-out shelf basically, I'm so excited. So I'm giving you a couple little details about it and you can see a little sneak peek of it in the back, but definitely stay tuned because my next video is going to be all about this vanity, don't worry. But that actually leads us into the craft portion of this video. Now, I do know that a lot of you guys are just here for some makeup content, so if this is not your thing, definitely check the timestamps along the bar at the bottom of the video. I will have timestamps for when my February goals are going to begin. So let's go ahead and jump into the craft portion of this recap video. So towards the end of December last year, I decided that I wanted to learn how to crochet. 5 or 6 years ago, I did like briefly learn how to crochet, just like a very simple stitch, but I don't even think I finished a whole project. I know I was working on a scarf, but I don't remember if I actually finished it or not. I probably just got distracted with college and everything. So anyways, I decided to pick it back up. And I've made a few projects since then. So this is the first thing that I made. This has since been through the washing machine, so it's a little bit warped, but it's just a washcloth. So this is what it looks like. And you know what? I'm actually pretty happy with it. I feel like the stitches look pretty good for my first project. It's definitely not completely even, but at the same time, it's not terrible. So I am really happy with it. So you guys can see like folded over, the edges don't perfectly line up, but for my very first project, like I would say this is pretty good. And I actually really love this yarn. I feel like I need to pick it up and make something else out of it. So also from the same little ball of yarn, I actually made another washcloth, but this one is a little bit more fancy. So I actually was able to put a border around it. And then I also put a little loop on it so that you could hook it onto something if you wanted to. And I'm really proud of how these turned out, especially the second one. But again, for this being my second project ever, I was really proud of it. And yeah, it's just very useful. So I've just been kind of using these in the kitchen actually. So I also wanted to learn how to sew. And again, I kind of know how to sew, but the sewing machine always used to make me so mad when anything would go wrong with the needle. So I'm really trying to be more patient with it this time around. And it's going okay. Oh, I forgot 2 of the things I made. I gotta go get those. So I got the very first 2 things that I made on the sewing machine. This was the first one. Now I cut them out at the same time, but technically I made this one first and you can tell. So this is a bookmark and it's supposed to be a quilted bookmark. So I did like some random stitching just to kind of test it out. And on the back I did a green fabric, but then I felt like it looked a little bit too chaotic with just the random stitching. And I did choose to do like the pink thread. So, you know, it stands out a little bit, but also it's just pretty crooked and I did not turn it inside out or like right side out perfectly. And not to say the next one is perfect, but it is much better. So let me show you a comparison. This was the first one that I made versus the second one. I mean, I feel like there is a definite improvement here. And I also really love this section of the pattern with the pretty flowers. So I was actually really happy with how both of these turned out, honestly, and I will use them. But then a friend of mine asked if I could make her a bread bag. So she's been getting really into bread baking. I mentioned this in a recent vlog, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I made her a bread bag from a tutorial that she had sent me, and I think it turned out really nicely. So this is what it looks like. It's just a very plain linen bread bag, but it just has a drawstring closure, and yeah, you can put your bread in it. So I am very excited for this and I hope that she will enjoy it. She told me that she's going to make me a loaf of sourdough in exchange for the bread bag. So I'm honestly so excited about that because she can bake some bread and I'm just really looking forward to it. And then I also decided to make her an apron. Now, full disclosure, I still have a little bit of work to do on this one because I'm pretty sure I hemmed it completely wrong. So I'm going to just roll it over again on the edge and put one more stitch in it basically. But technically I still have 2 days to do that and it's still to be in January. So I'm going to count this as a January project. But I decided to make her an apron and it's just a very standard kind of apron. There's nothing like crazy about it. But I will say that I was really excited about this one because the same person on YouTube that made the bread bag actually had the video on how to make this apron. And I really liked how it didn't have any ties because it's just, I feel like a lot easier to use. You don't have to worry about the ties. If you throw it in the wash, I feel like sometimes the strings on aprons just like wrap around clothes or the agitator if you have one in your washing machine. But it also has 2 rather large pockets on the front, which is nice. And then the back of it has a crisscross design. But basically once you put it on, it just crisscrosses in the back. This is so hard to show you guys. So the back just crisscrosses and it just kind of slips on. It's a little wrinkled, but that is, you know, that's okay. So yeah, it just crisscrosses and then you just wear it like that. And then of course the front doesn't have a crisscross, but it does have the 2 pockets there. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. My dog just ran around like crazy outside and now she's laying on the couch in here. So if you guys can hear her huffing and puffing, that is what you're hearing. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I definitely have now learned that to do a hem, you have to fold it twice. I think I was just kind of intimidated by this project in general. So I thought, let me just go for it. And there's definitely some learning curves to that. But I think that will make it look a lot more polished and also a lot more washing machine friendly because right now it is just fraying kind of a lot and it hasn't even been used yet. So I will fix that before I give it to her, and I only have a couple days to do that before this goes home with her. I'm just reminding myself that I'm still new, so it's okay to have little mistakes like that. But then the last thing I made was actually another crochet project and I haven't completed it yet. So hopefully in February in the recap I will be able to share what this bucket hat's gonna look like. But I did make 4 little granny squares to hopefully turn into a bucket hat, and I need to still weave in the edges on these 2 granny squares, but that's okay because I'm honestly really proud that I was able to make all of them. Again, they're not perfect, but I think that it will be a really nice, fun kind of first big crochet project because the washcloths are just 1 stitch like back and forth, but these are going to be a hat, hopefully. We'll see. But yeah, I'm hoping to make a bucket hat with these. I love bucket hats, but to be quite honest, I have a very big head. So bucket hats don't really fit my head very often. At least the cute ones don't. So I'm hoping I can really customize this one and help it be a little bit larger for my head. And I'm hoping that in the February roundup, I will be able to show you guys the completed bucket hat. So wish me luck on that one, but I wanted to go ahead and show that as I am really proud of myself for making these really pretty granny squares. I really like them. and I'm very proud of them. Okay, so those are all of the things that I made in January, and I just wanted to have clips of these because I hope at the end of this year I can share a video with all of the crafts that I made, whether it be crocheting or sewing or whatever else I get up to this year. But I'm very excited about everything I was able to just create. This to me is a very important thing that I want to carry out through 2024. Again, just kind of on that theme of slowing down and enjoying life, not rushing through everything. Okay, that leads us to the last portion of this video, which is going to be my February overview. So just as a recap, I am planning to continue my one project from January, that is using all of my eyeshadow palettes once. I hopefully will be able to do that in the first 2 weeks of February, but I do actually have an eyeshadow themed project for February as well. My project for February is going to be all about this Juvia's Place The Deuce palette. So this is one of the oldest palettes in my collection, and quite frankly, I don't actually know how old it is. That makes me a little bit nervous to continue using it on the eyes. I bought this after it had been discontinued, and I bought it off of Poshmark from someone, so I don't know when that person bought this palette originally or started to use it, but I am to the point now where I don't actually reach for this color story enough, but this is like one of the first palettes, if not the very first one that I bought, that I felt like I would use every single shade out of the palette, and that is huge for me. It's really changed my purchasing habits ever since then, and I really appreciate it for that. However, I'm starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable about using it on the eyes. I mentioned how I feel about my eye health, and I really don't want to just continue using old products on the eyes, especially since they've been a little bit more irritated lately than they ever have been. My plan for February is to get as much love out of this palette. I feel like it's the perfect month to do this because this palette, I originally was so inspired to buy it because of Kelly Gooch's videos on this, that a lot of them were like Valentine's looks, I think. I specifically remember a Valentine's themed video using this palette, and I always think of that when I think of this palette. So with Valentine's being in February, of course, I really want to focus on this palette throughout the month of February. Now, I really want to also focus on using some of these shades as face products. I have already used this shade here called Cream as a blush this month, and I want to continue that into February. I also want to try this shade here called Crepes as a blush, and I just kind of play around with different shades on the face versus just on the eyes. But I would love to hit another pan, maybe in the shade called Cream, but these are honestly really, really large shadows, so if I don't, that's okay. But I do plan to retire this palette into my makeup memory box at the end of this month. I want to use the heck out of this palette. If I reach for this every single day, I will be so excited. So that being said, this will be the exception to my using every eyeshadow palette. I still have to use an eyeshadow palette if I'm reaching for eyeshadow. I have to dip into one of the ones I haven't used until that project's complete, but I am going to let myself use this in combination with anything that I pick because I want to get as much use out of this as possible. So if I use this every single day in February, I will be so happy, but I just want to get some use out of it before I retire it from my collection. So if you guys have this palette, I would love for you guys to kind of jump in and also use this palette as much as you can in February, or just reach for colors that are similar to this in your collection. I hope that I will love this palette so much over the next month, but that's going to be my focus for February. I want my projects to be just exciting and fun. I want them to be a little bit different every month. So this past month was focused on a no-buy and using all of my palettes, and this next month is going to be focused on using this one palette. So as far as spending goes in the month of February, I don't have any hard goals or restrictions. I might pick up a Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. I'm still trying to figure out what shade, but I might let myself go to the store and like swatch some of the colors, and if I'm really drawn to one, I might pick it up. I do really hope to make a couple more things in the month of February. Specifically, I want to finish the bucket hat, so I hope that I will see that come to fruition over the next month. But other than that, I just want to kind of make whatever I feel like making and go from there. So that is everything I wanted to share with you guys for this January recap and February overview and goal setting to share with you guys my new project. But I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know down below if this is something that you want to see every month. As I said, I currently have a plan to do that every month, but I definitely want to be filming and making content that you guys enjoy watching. So definitely let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, especially if you want to see this vanity in my next video. I am so excited to share it with you guys. Turn on the post notifications if you want to be notified every single time that I post. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.